You ever see someone you love, and something about them just feels dimmer than usual? Not sad, not angry, just switched off. That happened to me last week. I was picking up my granddaughter from school. She got into the car, dropped her bag, stared out the window, and didn't say a word. Now, normally she talks about friends, teachers, random drama, everything. But that day, silence. So I asked her, "Rough day?" She shrugged. I asked, "Something happen?" She said no. Then after a long pause, she said something that hasn't left my mind since. She looked straight ahead and said, "Grandpa, does it ever feel like nothing you do actually matters?" I'm 87 years old. I've lived through things most people only read about. Loss, failure, fear, rebuilding from nothing more than once. And I'll tell you something honestly, that question didn't sound young to me. It sounded familiar. Because I've asked it too. More times than I care to admit. The only difference is, she's asking it at the beginning of life. And I'm asking it while looking back at the end. And somewhere between those two views, I think I finally understand the answer. The lie we're all chasing. We live in a world obsessed with being important. People want to make an impact, be remembered, leave a mark, go viral, build something big. We measure value by attention. How many people noticed? How many people applauded? How many people know your name? Seems logical, right? But after nearly 9 decades, I've realized something uncomfortable. The things that matter most almost never look important while they're happening. Let me tell you about someone who taught me that. The woman who thought she was ordinary. Her name was Margaret. She lived 3 houses down from us for over 40 years. Never married, no children, no big achievements people talk about. She taught 3rd grade at the same small school her entire life. When she retired, maybe 30 people showed up. Cake, handshake, small plaque, done. 2 years later, she passed away quietly. And at her funeral, the church was overflowing, people standing in hallways, outside the doors, and then they started speaking. A surgeon said she was the first person who made him believe he wasn't stupid. A woman running a charity said Margaret taught her to read when everyone else had given up. A middle-aged man brought his daughter and said he became a teacher because of her. Story after story, life after life, direction after direction changed. Margaret thought she was just doing her job, but her influence was still moving through the world, long after she was gone, like ripples that never stopped spreading. Here's what we get completely wrong. We think mattering means being visible, being admired, being remembered by crowds. But life isn't built on crowds. It's built on moments between individuals. A conversation that steadies someone who's falling apart. A kindness that arrives at the exact moment someone almost gives up. Showing up when it would have been easier not to. These moments feel small while they happen. But small doesn't mean insignificant. The coffee that changed my life. When I was 39, I was falling apart. Business failing, money tight, drinking too much, sleeping too little. One night I sat outside a bar, debating whether to go in, and a man I barely knew knocked on my car window. His name was Tom. He said, "I'm getting coffee. Come with me." No lecture, no intervention, no dramatic speech, just coffee. We sat for 2 hours talking about ordinary things, his kids, a book, a trip years ago. Nothing profound, but something inside me settled. I never went into that bar. I went home. That simple, forgettable evening quietly changed the direction of my life. Tom probably doesn't even remember it. That's how mattering works. It rarely feels dramatic. You won't get proof. You won't get credit. Most of the time, you'll never even know. The things people never forget. My wife used to write letters, actual handwritten letters. I used to tease her. Just call them. After she passed, I found boxes of replies. People kept her letters for years, read them during hard times, saved them like emotional medicine. She wasn't trying to matter. She was just reaching out. And that mattered more than she ever realized. The truth nobody tells you. Your life does not need to be extraordinary to be meaningful. In fact, chasing extraordinary is what makes people feel empty because it convinces them ordinary goodness doesn't count. But ordinary goodness is what holds the world together. Parents staying up all night with sick children, workers doing their job well even when no one checks, friends noticing when someone's quiet, people showing up again and again without applause. That's the real structure of society. Invisible effort, quiet reliability, uncelebrated care. Want to know if you matter? Look at the people right in front of you. Do you listen when they speak? Do you keep your promises? Are you kind when you don't have to be? Do people feel safer, calmer, or more seen around you? That's the real measurement. Not attention, impact, personal, human impact. The question is actually wrong. My granddaughter asked, "Does anything I do matter?" But the problem is how we define matter. We imagine scale, big influence, big recognition, big results. But mattering is not big. It's personal. It's whether your presence changes someone's experience of being alive, even slightly. 15 minutes that changed a life. My grandson used to be terrified of water. One summer, every day, 15 minutes. I just stood with him at the shallow end of a pool. No pressure, no pushing, just presence. Eventually, he learned to swim. He probably doesn't remember those quiet afternoons, but I know what they prevented. Fear that might have followed him for life. That's mattering. Not impressive. Just real. What actually lasts? Achievements fade. Status disappears. Recognition evaporates faster than you think. But people remember how you made them feel. They remember who showed up, who listened, who cared when it was inconvenient. Those memories echo forward in ways you will never see. So, here's the honest answer. Yes, what you do matters, but not where you're looking. It matters in patience instead of anger, honesty instead of convenience, presence instead of distraction, kindness when no one is watching. Your life doesn't need to be spectacular. It needs to be sincere. That's harder and far more meaningful. At my age, here's what I know for sure. When I think about what my life meant, I don't think about success. I think about who I loved well when I truly listened. When I stayed instead of leaving, when I helped without needing credit. Those are the moments that remain. Those are the moments that mattered. If this spoke to something inside you, share it with someone who might need to hear it today, and tell me in the comments, what small moment in your life changed you more than any big achievement ever did? Subscribe to Wisdom Without Noise if you want more conversations like this. I don't know how much time I have left, but I still have a few things worth saying.